Good afternoon everyone, Behzad is here from Simplifier Coding School. Welcome back to another video of our SQL series. Last week we managed to retrieve a student's information in a particular subject. And today we want to calculate the age of a student using their names or their student ID. Let's get started by connecting to our database. From the start of our code, find use SQL 2 script to execute the line. So you're just going up and here is use SQL 2, then execute it. By doing that, we will use SQL 2 database to apply the changes into it. Once we connect it to the database, we want to retrieve the student's information from the student table, but we need to follow a specific format. First of all, we need the student's first and last name together as a full name. Do you remember how those two stick together? We use concat to do the job. So we choose select, give some space, and concat, open and close parentheses, and we want to return the information as full name. So full name, comma. Here inside the parentheses, we want the first name and the last name. So you write down first name, comma, some gap, comma, last name. Have you noticed I didn't use a table's name here? Do you know the reason? Think about it. The reason is because we need information from one table only. So there is no need to declare the table's name. The second part would be the date of birth of the student to calculate the age. So below your concat, we want to write down date format, open and close parentheses, and we want to return the value as a date of birth. So we're doing write as date of birth for the students. And inside the parentheses, we want to a birth date, and I will tell you where the birth date comes from. Then you have a comma, then we have a percentage, D, gap, percentage sign, month, and percentage sign for the year. So the birth date came from our student table where we got the information as a date of birth for each student. And that value, we want to retrieve it and separate it from each other as day, month, and year. Now we have the date of birth. We need to calculate the difference between the date of birth and the current year. So below your date format, we want to write down our time stamp diff, open and close parentheses, and return the value as the age. So we have the age, and inside the parentheses we have three values. The first one will be the year to show the age. Then we have our birth date, which gets from the student's table, and the last item will be curDate, and which it gets the current date from our system. And then we'll calculate the difference between the birth date and current date. The last part would be the access to the table. In this case, it would be a student table, and set the condition to get a specific result. So below your time span diff, we just write down from our student table. We want to calculate the age of a student, where the student first name equals to Behzad, for instance, semicolon. Now let's run the script to see the result. So just click here and run the script. As you see here, we were able to successfully calculate the age of the student named Behzad. There is another way we can check the age, and that is instead of using the student name, we can use the student ID. So in the where condition, we just change the first name to student ID. And instead of the first name, we just write down cool school student number 1, save the work, and we will get the same result as well. To just make sure we can calculate the other students' age as well, instead of the 1, we want to insert 2 and run the code again. And here it is, calculate the age of the student Maria Gonzalez. And that is for today's video. But before we finish, let's go through what we've done one more time. Here at the first part, we concatenated the first name and last name and returned the value as the full name here as a student. The second part, we retrieve the information of a date of birth of each student from our students table, and we retrieved it as a date of birth. And we have day, month, and year. Day, month, and the year. The third part was calculating the difference between date of birth and the current date which we are in, and retrieve that information as age. And the last part was getting access to information from our student table, and the last section which we set the condition to student ID equal to the cool school student number 2, or vice versa. We can use the first name to calculate the age. As per usual, if you have any question, please write down your question in the comment section below, and I will respond to them as quick as I can. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. As per usual, if this video was helpful to you, please make sure you hit the like button as well as subscribing to our channel. Your support gives us confidence to create more videos like this. Thanks for your time, and I will see you next week.